go to the third turn.
They're side by side. Rick Mears down low. He can't get Gordy Johncock. He takes the high line. He shuts the door on Mears. Mears right on his tail as they go into 4.
Now we'll see if Rick makes a challenge to the inside in turn 4. Yes, he does. He gets again way low, but still Johncock maintains the advantage.
5/8 of a mile of a main straightaway in front of them. Johncock still out in front. Just a flicker of an eye is Rick Mears in the Gold Charge right behind. Ron Carroll.
And from Coldwater, Michigan, there's Gordon Johncock. Rick Mears right behind him. They're in a south chute right now. And Johncock has about a 2-car length.
They both dive down below the yellow and white line. Now Mears is going to challenge on the backstretch. He pulls alongside.
He's not quite equal with him, but trying to challenge him on the inside as they head down the backstretch, 3/4 of the way down the backstretch, and Mears pulls in behind Johncock. He can't get Gordy Johncock. Johncock's got more horsepower down the back straightaway. Johncock, a 2-car length lead into the short chute.
Reminiscent of 1960 when Roger Ward and Jim Rathman dueled it out. These two drivers, Johncock and Mears, are doing the same thing in 1982.
A whale of a battle for first place. Here comes Rick Mears. He's going to try Johncock again on the main stretch. But Johncock ducks in the first turn. Johnny Rutherford is in front of Johncock. Mears in second place in turn 2. Doug.
Less than 20 laps to go. 2 slower cars. Johncock goes down underneath of Johnny Rutherford. Also the car in front of him. Now they both slide by into the backstretch. Howdy Bell.
And Johncock and Mears both get by the slower cars with Mears in second as they go to 3. Johncock again with about a 3-car length lead. They got slowed down in traffic. Mears is going to try to catch it up through the north short chute.
You would think that Rick Mears would be making his move if he could do it. I don't think he can. I think Gordon Johncock has a superior car out here. He sure is leading at this time as Johnny Rutherford heads for the pits.
The Wildcat of Gordon Johncock down the straightaway. A car designed by Gordon Kimball for the Patrick Racing Team. The STP Wildcat. Now the question, Roger Ward, as we look at a battle that was very much like you and Rathman, they need one more pit stop.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, they've had the come in sign for Sneva out there 3 or 4 laps. He'd better get in before he runs out of fuel. We should have some very fast pit stops. However, Sneva has been gaining on the lead. He was back something like 7 seconds. Now it's down to 4. He probably feels so good he just wants to stay out there and keep going. But they're all going to have to stop, and it should be any lap now.
Tom Sneva's crew have been trying to talk him into coming in for fuel. They've set the board out several times now. Here comes Gordon Johncock on the main stretch again. And again, Rick Mears is going to try him in the first turn, but Johncock comes across the front and keeps him back. Let's pick him up, Ron.
All right, and a tremendous battle. Hey, Rick Mears almost took him here in the south chute, but Gordy Johncock gets back out in front there in turn 2.
It's still Johncock by at least 2 car lengths. They're on the backstretch. How'd he pick him up?
All right, they're maintaining that 2-car length separation as they streak down here at the halfway point up to the 3/4 mark of this 5/8 of a mile backstretch and into turn 3. Mears looks to the inside, the outside. He can't find an opening. Johncock speeds away and keeps the lead about 2-car lengths to the north short chute.
Out of the short chute and into turn number 4. It is still that same distance between Gordon Johncock and Mears is pitting. Rick Mears is heading for the pits.
Here comes Rick Mears down into the pit area. Chuck Marlowe is in Rick Mears' pit. Lou Palmer's already headed for victory lane. Mears has to lock the brakes up. He almost rear-ended a car that was slowing in the pits. Now Mears screams down into his pit area. Chuck Marlowe.
He is just about going to find me. Now they'll take a very close look at those tires. They're looking on the left side. It's fuel. It is precious time. Seconds, half seconds, maybe milliseconds. All they can save here in the pit. They've got to get enough to finish this race. Waiting. Now the horses are out. He's on his way.
And Tom Sneva also makes a pit stop at the same time and lights the tires heading out of the pits. A great roar of approval from the crowd. So we've had the pit stop by Rick Mears. He can go the distance now. Gordon Johncock is the man we wait for. Roger Ward, what a terrific race.
It is. As a matter of fact, those pit stops were almost the same speed. They left almost at the exact same moment. And Sneva should be right up behind Rick Mears as they go down the back straightaway. Gordon still has his pit stop to make. If he can make a quick one, it would give him a chance to get right back into the lead.
So we will keep our eyes on that Patrick Racing Team. George Schuning leans out over the wall. He is the chief of the race car, and he is in radio communication with Gordon Johncock, the current leader. Johncock stays out. Now, Donald Davidson, looking at strategy here, did they not make a stop just a little bit later?
Who made a stop?
I believe Johncock did hook up and make a stop a little later than everyone else on the last round.
There was one time under yellow when he came in and made an additional top-up on fuel, and that may have helped him to go just a little bit further than some of the others. He can run a little longer.
All right, Lou Palmer is standing by in Gordon Johncock's pit. He is the leader at this moment, and he is due for a pit stop. 185 laps are complete. We're going to try to get you the 180-lap rundown shortly, but obviously we're interested in this battle with the leader as Gordon Johncock screams through the fourth turn. Comes off the fourth and heads down for the pits. Here comes Gordon Johncock. There's a slower car in front of him. Johncock would like to get past him in the pits. Indeed he does. Johncock makes a pass of Jim Hickman in the pits, and now Johncock braking to a stop, locks the wheels up. Let's go down to Lou Palmer.
And he braked precisely to a stop where he should, though the car was bouncing and twitching as it came in very, very quick. They're making a small adjustment now. George Ewing taking the signal from Gordon to the front end. They're setting their handling characteristic for the final 20. There he goes. Gordon Johncock is on his way. His crew is ecstatic. They're calling it their greatest stop of the day, maybe of their decade. Gordon could be on his way to another win, and I'm on my way to victory lane.
One whale of a stop by Gordon Johncock. They hooked up the fuel, they pumped in fuel fast, and Johncock is on his way. He is 14 laps from victory. In 1977, at this very point, he was right behind A.J. Foyt when he blew his engine. So the race is not over yet.
On May 30th, all eyes will be on Indianapolis. And the car they'll see first coming out of Turn 4 is Chevrolet's Camaro Z28. Z28, leading the pack as this year's Indy 500 pace car. And now, you can own a street version of this special machine, the new commemorative edition Camaro Z28 pace car. Now, even at Indy, Camaro will have the competition chasing shadows.
This was for you, for being on the job and working hard all day. So here's to you. You know there's no one else who does it quite the way you do. For all you do. This buzz for you. This buzz for you. On the Anheuser-Busch St. Louis.
This is Paul Page. We're back at the Indianapolis 500. Out in front, Gordon Johncock with 188 laps complete. John DeCamp, take us back 8 laps and give us 10-car rundown, please.
Well, at the end of 180 laps, Johncock led in car 20. Car number 1 was in second spot, and that's driven by Mears. Car number 7, Sneva, was in third place. In fourth place, car 3, Pancho Carter. Fifth place, car 10, Al Unser. Sixth place, car 5, Johnny Rutherford. Seventh place, car 91, Don Whittington. Eighth place, car 19, Bobby Rahal. Ninth place, car 42, Jim Hickman. 10th place, car 28, Herm Johnson. 11th place, car 30, Howdy Holmes.
189 laps complete. A 10-second lead for Gordon Johncock. Donald.
Okay, Paul, we're now down to 10 cars out of the race, or rather 10 cars still running as Bobby Rahal is also out of the race. Gordon Johncock, we perhaps forget, was running second with only 7 laps to go just a year ago. A tremendous finisher. He's been in the top 10 for the last 5 years in a row, and it's hard to believe that it's 9 years ago since he won that 73 race, and he wants so much to win one that goes the full 500 miles.
And we must remind you that with 190 laps complete, that the race itself is not over until a checkered flag flies. So many times in these last 10 laps, the race has been taken away from the leader.
Well, of course, the most famous one of the lot was Ralph De Palma, who in 1912 led 196 of the 200 laps, and the only 4 that he didn't lead were laps 1 and 2 and 199 and 200. And then, of course, we had Eddie Sachs pitting to change a tire and allow A.J. Foyt to win only 3 laps from the end in 1961. We had the great Ward-Rathman duel of 1960 when Roger Ward was leading the 197th lap, saw a cord showing through on his tire and elected to slow down and save second rather than try and battle Rathman to the finish.
The Indianapolis 500. Johnny Rutherford makes his final pit stop now of the day. He is in the pits. It might be more than just a routine stop as his crew leans over the Pennzoil chaparral. 191 laps complete. John DeCamp, let's take the opportunity right now. First 10 places, 190 laps.
The lead car was Gordon Johncock in car number 20. In second place, car number 1, Rick Mears. In third place, car 7, Tom Sneva. Fourth place, car 3, Pancho Carter. Fifth place, car 10, Al Unser. Sixth place, car 5,
Johnny Rutherford, 7th place car 91, Don Whittington, 8th place car 42, Jim Hickman, 9th place car 28, Herm Johnson, 10th place car 30, Howdy Holmes. Gordon Johncock, the STP Wildcat, 191 laps complete. He's across the line completing 192, 8 laps from the finish. Roger Ward, what kind of an interval between he and second place Rick Mears?
At the moment, there is 8.5 seconds. Actually, Rick Mears is gaining on him at about a half a second a lap at the moment. However, with only 8 laps to go, it would appear as though catching him is going to be doubtful. He might be able to do it if there was a yellow flag that could change the complexion entirely, or if Gordon experienced a little problem, that might change the complexion. But at the moment, it appears as though Gordon has a sufficient cushion to stave off the challenge of Rick Mears.
Then again, Gordon Johncock might have just eased back a little bit and is just hoping that he'll make it to the finish. Is that possible?
Well, that certainly is true. However, I would think if I were in Gordon's shoes, I wouldn't want that Rick Mears any place within sight if I could avoid it.
Bob Forbes is down in Gordon Johncock's pit at this moment. Bob, what's the atmosphere down there?
Well, they've got their fingers crossed, and they're listening to the public address system every time that lead increases just a bit or whatever the variation is. You can see the expressions on their face. They're standing here right on the pit wall, 1 foot up, 1 foot down, and I'm sure they are counting each lap and hoping for Gordon Johncock to get that checkered flag.
The average speed of the race at 190 laps, 160.68 miles an hour. Here comes Gordon Johncock once again, 194 laps. He is just 6 laps from the finish of the Indianapolis 500, our winner in 1973. Gordon has had some problems, illness in the family the past week. I know it's very important to him to win this race this year. The interval now just 6 seconds. John DeCamp. Gordon is running just over 193 miles an hour, Paul. 193 miles an hour as Johnny Rutherford's Pennzoil Chaparral is being pushed to the garage area and out of the race. So we're watching Gordon Johncock. We're watching the interval. 2nd place is Rick Mears. 3rd place is Tom Sneva. Pancho Carter is up in 4th place, and I started to say earlier, I'll say it again, that the Longhorn of Al Unser is sitting in 5th place, and I know Bobby Hillen would like to win, but I'm sure he's happy with being at 5th place with a car that's been a lot of trouble to them in development the past 3 years. Ron Carroll in the first turn. Let's pick up Gordon Johncock.
All right, Johncock by us right now. Tom Steva's car may be in trouble. Some black smoke just came out of it a moment ago, Paul.
Watching on the backstretch. Howdy, keep track of Johncock.
And Gordon Johncock flashes by us, and he's heading to the number 3 position where Larry Henry can see him.
Here's Gordon Johncock, but not too far behind him is Rick Mears. Rick has got the pedal to the metal, as they say. He's trying to catch Gordon Johncock. Can he do it?
Over on the main stretch, Tom Sneva's engine begins to show a plume of blue smoke. It looks like Sneva, running in 3rd place, may have just lost the motor on the main stretch. There's also the possibility that that puts some oil down. Here comes Johncock. He completed lap 196. Ron Carroll.
And Gordon Johncock in the first turn right now. Drops it down below that yellow line. Now out to the short chute wall. And here goes Rick Mears by us right now. Doug. And he came out of Hastings, Michigan in 1965, driving for Gordon Weinberger. Gordon Johncock, the leader. He's in the middle of the backstretch. Johncock flashes by me, and there's Rick Mears right behind him as they head into number 3.
He may be able to see that blue and white gold charge in his rearview mirrors. Johncock had to go to the inside to get around traffic. Mears is getting closer. He is getting much closer. It's going to be a shootout. Johncock moves through the turn. There goes Rick through the turn. And we've only got 3 more laps to go.
Rick Mears chasing Gordon Johncock, and he is closing on him. Mears 1.5 seconds behind Johncock. Ron.
All right, and a tremendous battle right here. There's Gordon Johncock. There's Rick Mears. It's just that close as they head the 2nd turn. And he drops down a little below the white and yellow line. Now Mears is closing in about 20 car lengths behind. There they are at the backstretch. There is Johncock right there. Mears right there as they streak down the backstretch toward 3.
Johncock can really see Mears in his rearview mirror. The crowd on their feet. They're cheering. They want Mears to catch him and have it up. Foot race right to the checkered flag. Now the distance is less than half the short chute. It isn't going to be long before Rick Mears will be right up on the bumper of Gordon Johncock. They're in the straightaway.
It's a battle to the finish as we're watching Johncock lead Mears across the line. 198 laps complete. 5 miles to go. Ron.
I wouldn't have believed it with an 11-second lead, but there's Johncock. There's Mears about a second apart or less. They're in turn 2.
And here's Gordon Johncock. Mears now about 8 car lengths behind as they accelerate off of turn number 2. Johncock, of course, having started in sprint cars, and he loves to race close, and he may have an opportunity as he still leads by a few car lengths into turn 3.
Mears is right on the rear wing of Gordon Johncock as they dive into turn 3. They're getting down to the nitty-gritty. They've got one car in front of them. They're in the short chute.
And here they come. Johncock maintains the lead. Rick Mears way low at the turn. He may make a move here on the straightaway as the white flag comes out.
And Mears is right there. The white flag. It's a drag race. They're side by side. Johncock and Mears. Mears on the inside. Johncock, Mears forced down the little line. Run.
Johncock cuts him off. Hey, this looks like the start of this race. Johncock, then Mears. They're in turn 2. Now Gordy pulls away a little bit as Mears gets a little squirrely in turn number 2. They're on the backstretch. It's still Gordon Johncock. Mears is trying, but he's about 10 car lengths behind as they streak down this 5/8 of a mile backstretch to turn 3.
Less than half a lap ago. Gordon Johncock by 5 car lengths over Rick Mears. They're in the north short chute.
Here they come. This is the final quarter lap. Johncock maintains the lead. The voice of the 500 Paul Page. Who's going to win it?
Gordon Johncock off the 4th turn. Mears is right behind him. Johncock. Mears makes a try. Johncock wins it by less than 1/10 of a second. Gordon Johncock has won his second 500. Rick Mears comes across in second place, almost side by side. And you should see the celebration that is taking place in the Patrick Racing pits. An incredible celebration now as they run down toward victory lane. What a finish. Absolutely incredible. Gordon Johncock wins the 66th running of the Indianapolis 500. I'm sure in the 66th running, they have never seen a finish like that. Rick Mears grabs to the finish line. Pancho Carter comes across the line. Scored unofficially in 3rd place now. Tom Sneva's car giving up in the last 3 laps. Sneva brought it into the pit area. Here comes Gordon Johncock around one more time, waving to his thousands of fans, a crowd approaching almost 400,000 as Gordon Johncock drives around one more lap. The STT Wildcat, the winning car here. And a cheer goes up for Rick Mears, who rolls down the pit area in the Gould Charge, the 2nd place car. An unbelievable finish for the Indianapolis 500-mile race. Now Pat Patrick and the rest of the team, Jim McGee, George Hooney, all wait for the race car to make its presentation on pit road of the winning machine, Gordon Johncock. An unbelievable finish.